In the stillness of the night, when the history books have closed, we open another story, the story of a life that brought light to the world without making a sound. Tonight, we listen to the story of Naomi Whitehead. If you wish for more stories like this, stay with us, subscribe, and leave a quiet like, so this light keeps reaching others in the dark. It was the morning of September 26, 1910, in the quiet southern stretches of Georgia. The sun had not yet reached its full strength, and the fields still whispered with mist as the world welcomed a girl named Naomi Whitehead into a humble farming family in Paterson, a small town where the soil was red and life moved with the rhythm of the harvest. Her father, Eli Washington, was strong-willed and dependable. Her mother, Josephine, was the heartbeat of the home. No one could have known then that this small child, wrapped in a hand-sewn blanket, would live to see another century and become a living bridge between eras. Naomi Whitehead grew up in the sun-baked fields of Paterson, Georgia, a small town where the wind carried the scent of clay, crop, and hard-earned sweat. Childhood wasn't measured in toys or books, but in calloused hands, dirt under the nails, and long, sweltering days beneath a southern sun. Even as a young girl, she rose before dawn to work the fields. Cotton and tobacco, crops that cut and stained, were her early companions. Paterson was a place where church bells rang louder than school bells, and stories lived on porches and in whispered prayers. Here, Naomi learned resilience. The sunrise taught her patience. The sunset gave her strength. Her foundation was forged by nature, nurtured by family, and carved through toil. Naomi Whitehead was raised in a modest farming home, not built of brick and polish, but of patience, faith, and the strong backs of working hands. The youngest of 5, she grew beneath her father's hands, scented with soil, and a mother's silence steady with strength. Home was not walls, but warmth. Love was not spoken, but shown, in shared labor and whispered evening prayers. Mornings began with the creak of the porch as Naomi and her siblings walked toward the fields. Cotton blooms and tobacco leaves, waiting like old friends. Her childhood held no dolls or storybooks, only the rhythm of rain and the lessons written in mud and sweat. From the fields, she learned not just survival, but the quiet power of grace under burden. There was no secret to Naomi Whitehead's long life. No magic pills, no modern fads, only a quiet, unwavering discipline. She never smoked, never tasted alcohol. This body is a gift from God, she would say. Why would I defile it? Her mornings began with the sunrise. Fresh food made by her own hands, humble meals in tune with the seasons. She ate with balance, never too much, never too little. As her grandmother said, you must feed the stomach, not the soul. To Naomi, the body was a temple, and she knew the more love you give it, the longer it walks with you. The year was 1930, America still in the shadows of the Great Depression. In a quiet stretch of Georgia, a new beginning took root. Naomi Whitehead married Sylvester Whitehead. No diamonds, no lace, just 2 souls promising to live, love, and endure together. They had no wealth, no luxuries. But Naomi would say, we had honesty and each other's hand. What more does a journey need? Sylvester, soft-spoken, a farmer shaped by sun and soil. Naomi, his silent strength, beside him through drought and storm, in the field and in the kitchen. To her, marriage was never a title. It was a vow of sacrifice, service, and faith. She never boasted about being someone's wife. She simply said, "I didn't endure life alone. I lived it hand in hand." If there was one role Naomi Whitehead cherished most, it was being a mother. Her first son, Sylvester Jr., in 1931, Parrish in 1933, Elbert in 1934. They weren't just names, they were her sons, the three lights that guided every hour of her life. From dawn's first light to the last ember in the stove, she stitched their clothes, seasoned their meals, and in sickness became prayer itself. Motherhood was not duty, it was devotion, a sacred calling. She never said she raised 3 boys. She said, "I shaped 3 futures and shielded them from the world's harshness." To her sons, Naomi was more than a mother. She was guidance, protection, and quiet inspiration. The year was 1979, and silence took on a new meaning in Naomi Whitehead's life. Her husband, Sylvester Whitehead, the man she had walked beside through storms and sunshine, had passed away. His death was the beginning of a long night, a night with no stars, no moon, only memories and solitude. Yet Naomi never spoke of bitterness. She said softly, "He's gone, but the love he gave me still breathes inside me." In the years that followed, she did not live as a widow. She lived as a woman of quiet strength, rising each morning, not with sorrow, but with purpose. Where others may have crumbled, Naomi stood firm, not because she lacked pain, but because her love was deep enough to carry forward alone. Naomi Whitehead's long life was no accident. It was a legacy, flowing quietly through her family. She would often say, "My daddy lived past 90. His secret was hard work, peace, and faith in God." Naomi walked the same path. No smoking, no drinking. Each day, a devotion. Each breath, a thank you. Her longevity wasn't a miracle. It was the victory of habits and values passed down through generations. And now, at 114 years old, time itself seems to bow before her. Her age is not just a number. It is a living legacy carried on the shoulders of those who came before. Naomi Whitehead was a mother. Her heart lived in 3 sons, Sylvester Jr., Parrish, and Elbert. But time took them back one by one. 2004, Sylvester Jr. 2006, Elbert. 2011, Parrish. 3 times she watched the soil claim what once grew in her womb, and 3 times she stayed silent. She never asked why. She only said, "God gave them to me, and God took them home. I was just their keeper for a while." And so Naomi became more than an elderly woman. She became a living memory, a mother who lost everything, yet still stood. For Naomi Whitehead, faith was life itself. Morning began with prayer. Night ended in thanks. "God is in my breath," she said. "He walks with me." Her secret to long life? It's not me, it's God. Through storms, loss, and loneliness, faith carried her. Her strength was not her body, it was her God. In 2024, Elizabeth Francis passed, and the title of America's oldest living woman fell to Naomi Whitehead, but it wasn't a crown. It was a burden of witness. Born in 1910, she saw 2 world wars, the civil rights movement, and the rise of the internet. Through it all, her pace never changed. When asked, she only said, "I'm just living in God's plan." No pride, no complaint, just peace. Naomi Whitehead, a quiet note in the long song of time. At 113, Naomi Whitehead was still writing. Her hands trembled, but her words stayed steady. She carried Bible verses in her heart, not just read but lived. And when old songs played, her eyes closed, her smile returned, as if she touched another time. Her body grew weak, but her spirit stayed strong, writing stories in the ink of memory. In 2020, Naomi Whitehead turned 110. When she blew out her candles, the room didn't just hold the echo of a long life, it carried the weight of a century's legacy. Around her stood generations, 12 grandchildren, 28 great-grandchildren, 49 great-great-grandchildren, and even 3 more of the next, like branches from a tree rooted deep in time, all leading back to Naomi. She often said softly, "I was born in a house with no lights, but now my light shines in many faces, and that light still hasn't gone out." May 2025, Naomi Whitehead was 114. Only 2 women on earth were older, yet she asked for no flags, no fanfare. When a young journalist said, "How does it feel to live this long?" Naomi smiled, lowered her gaze, and whispered, "Time is a river. I just sit by the shore, watching it flow and remembering what it carried." Her face no longer held wrinkles. It held history, 114 years, and not just a number, but a testimony to every war, every sunrise, every triumph. And her breath still moved, like pages in a book, not yet fully turned. Naomi Whitehead's life was not a grand speech. It was like morning light, soft, quiet, but necessary. Her words were simple. God is watching, and I'm just walking. She never tried to change the world, but for her children and their children, she was a world. Born September 26, 1910, she said goodbye on June 29, 2025, 114 years, 9 months, and 3 days. Her final lesson? Life is not measured in breaths, but in how deeply each moment is lived.